Hello everybody, Loki Magics, another day, another video, but today's video is all about Dracomorph and Venus because a lot of people already know these are probably the two champions that everybody desires when they do shard pulls, and they really hope and pray that they pull them. But I was lucky enough to get both, so I kind of wanted to do a comparison and see if we had to choose one, which one would you rather have? So if you're interested in that, let's check out this video. And yeah, sorry for not uploading in a long time, but hey man, let's be real. Sometimes Raid Shadow Legends can get pretty boring. Let's start off with total stats, because total stats is very important and it's going to determine a lot of ways in how you build out your champions and what team composition you're going to put them in, right? But also I feel like it paints the perfect picture in showcasing the differences between these two champions. And what I mean is Dracomorph, I feel like naturally does a lot of damage, especially in a short time period. He will do more damage than Venus, but also I found Venus to survive a lot longer than Dracomorph, and that makes sense because Dracomorph has high attack total stats, Venus has high HP total stats, right? So it does make sense. Venus could survive a lot longer and maybe catch up to Dracomorph, because it's harder to keep Dracomorph alive, but it's also harder to make Venus do as much damage as Dracomorph. So that's where the comparison really starts between these two, is that Dracomorph naturally does more damage, but he does die a lot faster. Venus could potentially do more damage than Draco, but it takes her a lot longer, right? So that's kind of like the teeter-tottering between these two champions. They're both very good champions and doing what they do. It's just these are the differences that you're going to have to take notice of, especially when you're trying to build them out. So when it comes to total stats, that's where they're a little bit different. All right, so now that we got total stats out the way, let's actually look at their skills and artifacts. Okay, now you see right here, Venus has the immortal set with some accuracy set. This is her total stats. Don't worry, what I'm going to do in this video is take these up here and switch them out with Dracos for this, right? Because I can't do anything with their accessories. That's stuck. That's, locked due to their factions. But for everything else, I can. And the reason why I have him in Stalwart gear is because, I was using Draco for Clan Boss, and, he's a little bit squishy. So I was experimenting. I'm not saying this is how you should build them out. This is just a comparison video. So we're going to compare these two champions and these two sets, so it should be pretty fair. And also, let's just get this out the way too, their masteries are very similar. The only difference is I think Draco has Lore still, and what's this, Evil Eye, and Venus has, oh, she does also have Lore still, but she has Psycho and Magic. So that's the only two differences. Maybe Draco should also get Psycho Magic. I'm pretty sure with Psycho Magic he'll do more damage to the clan boss, but it's a very low, like, what is it, like 5% chance by one turn. So maybe it might proc 2 times out of the whole duration of the clan boss fight. So regardless, that's the only difference. All right, so let's look at their skills. All right, so let's talk about these skills, because in the world of Raid Shadow Legends, skills is everything, and Venus and Draco definitely have one sick kit. So we gotta check it out. Let's talk about it. Let's compare the differences within these two champions. Now, her A1 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. Now, this A1 is very good because not only does it apply poison, but if you have a counterattack champion, it further increases the chances of you placing that poison, right? And not only that though, if you have a champion like Septimus, Warlord, or Vizier, you'll be able to even extend it and pretty much stack up the clan boss with a whole bunch of poison. So that's why having it on your A1 combined with counterattack champion is very powerful. So this A1 is a strong, powerful A1. Now, moving over to Draco, his A1 is different, but it is also very powerful because this attacks one enemy, but the damage is increased by 10% for each debuff on the target. So clan boss can have up to 10 debuffs, which makes this 100% damage increase. And not only that though, if you're using this in like a dungeon content, dragons, Fire Knight, whatever, if you kill an enemy, it will do surplus damage. Now, for me, it took a second to figure it out, so let me just show you. Damn! All right, so we checked out their A1. Now let's check out their A2. So this A2 right here on Venus is probably the main reason why everybody wants a Venus, because this attacks all enemies and can be buffed up to 100% chance of placing decreased defense and weaken. Now Venus and Dracomorph are the only two champions in the game that has this decreased defense and weaken under one ability, and that just makes things so much easier when it comes to team composition, team building, and clearing out content in the game. This is a very powerful A2. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, which is even better, and you can use Master Hexer to extend it, or a debuff extender to extend it even further. So this A2 is very powerful. Now moving over to Dracomorph, he attacks 4 times at random. Now if you're doing dungeon stuff, this might not be as reliable, but if you're going against a clan boss, he's going to attack the clan boss 4 times, placing 4 poison debuffs for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So if you put on Master Hexer once again on this champion, you could have poison for 4 turns, which kind of makes it to where you really don't need a debuff extender, because this guy already does a lot of damage, and we'll get into all that later. But right now, the key thing about this A2 and why it's so strong is that it's a 3-turn cooldown with 4 poisons for 3 turns, possibly 4 turns. So this A2 is also very powerful, right? Now, since we're on Draco, let's just look at his A3. Now, this says places a 25% chance and 25% weaken debuff and 60% decreased defense buff, right? So when it says places, that means there's no chance of it happening. It will happen as long as your accuracy is high enough. And another thing to note, he does not attack on this, so maybe that's why his A1 and A2 hit so hard. And connection error, sorry about that, but maybe that's why his A1 and A2 hits pretty hard, because his A3 doesn't do any damage. But hey, trust me, Dracomorph does plenty of damage, so no need to worry. But this is his A3 plus everything else he does makes this champion so desirable. Very, very solid champion, right? Like you could tell his kit is designed for pure damage. Pretty straightforward champion. Now going back to Venus, she has a little bit more flexibility because she has on her A3 HP burn. Now this HP burn attacks all enemy, can be buffed up to 75% chance of placing HP burn for 2 turns. This HP burn gives Venus a lot of flexibility when it comes to team building and utility, because for example, we have champions like this guy right here, right? He works off of HP burn. Well, his passive works off of HP burn. This allows you to decrease damage inflicted by enemies under HP burn debuff by 10%. Yes, he also does HP burn himself, but sometimes it doesn't stick, right? So having a backup is very helpful, and also sometimes the HP burn just falls off. So it's really nice to have a backup champion that could assist you in that. And also we have, champions like Torment here that works off HP burn. He will ignore defense target if you're under both freeze and HP burn. So it really helps to have an awesome champion like Venus that could apply poisons, decrease defense and weaken, HP burn. So I think the two big difference between Venus and Dracomorph is that Dracomorph is like just pure damage. Venus gives you that decent amount of damage and flexibility. And to add a little bit more credit toward Venus, she has a passive that removes all buffs from enemies and has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn when Cupidus is on the same team. And Cupidus also has an ability that works with Venus. I forgot what it was, but once again, just a little bit extra to the champion, right? Overall, very good champions. They do so much for your team composition, but they are slightly different. So let's check them out in action and see how. All right, so let's start off with Clan Boss, because I really feel like that's where most people are interested in when it comes to these two champions. Who is better at doing Clan Boss? Now you can see right here, this is my clan. We got a lot of Dracos, a lot of unkillable team comps, but the reason why they would use Draco over Venus is because like purely Dracomorph just does way more damage than Martyr. Well, I wouldn't say like way more, but definitely does a lot. This guy right here, Ares, you guys probably know him, really cool dude. He loves this game. He is highly competitive. I don't know who hell Hades is. Maybe you guys ever heard of him. I don't know, I'm joking. But anyways, look at him. One Keen. He's using a Draco. Who else we got up in here? We got a Venus here. I'm not sure if he has a Dracomorph. Got another Venus. Some Dracos. See, there's a lot of Dracomorphs in here, right? So you can see, man, Dracomorph is pretty popular when it comes to Clan Boss, but don't take my word for it. You could see some numbers. Now, this is what I'm using right now because I'm doing some experimentation, trying to learn different things about the game. But like I said, this is just between these two champions. So right now, Dracomorph is wearing the Storeward set, and I will be replacing that exact same set to Venus just to see a fair comparison, right? So let's run this and see what we get from Draco Morph going against Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. Alright, so not bad at all. Almost 16 mil in damage, so that's pretty good for Draco Morph. Now, I do want to mention right now, we did run for 8 minutes, so take note of that. And also, yes, Clan Boss right now is on Magic Affinity, but that is fine because Draco Morph's Magic Affinity, right? So he does not get any advantage or disadvantage. Now we're going to do Venus, and let me just say, yes, she is a Void champion, but she doesn't get advantage or disadvantage, so it is fair comparison. Just want to throw that out there. Let's switch over to Venus now. Alright, now Venus is wearing Draco Morph's armor. You can see right here, I completely took it off and put it on Venus, so everything's fair comparison, so let's go. Alright, so even with the power of the stars, Venus still fell short. Now we can see this run was 7 minutes and 33 seconds, a little bit shorter than what Draco Morph did in his run, but still though, Venus's damage output is about 4 mil off from Draco Morph, so clearly Draco Morph is the better champion when it comes to Clan Boss, hands down. I know we only ran this one time, and the affinities and all that is neutral for both of these champions, and Venus cannot keep up, so Draco Morph is the winner. Okay, don't count out Venus yet. Even though when it comes to Clan Boss, Draco Morph is your boy, that's the champion you should go with, but Venus still does very good in Clan Boss, so don't count her out. We're just saying who is the best between the two. Now when it comes to faction wars, obviously, you know, you can only use the champion for faction, so this one doesn't count. Now when it comes to campaign, me personally, I would rather use Draco Morph, right? So I'm going to give, you know, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just going to give Draco Morph also the campaign category. He wins in that. Now when it comes to arena, it's debatable, so let's just take a sec to talk about it. So when it comes to arena, obviously you will not use store gear, but right now Venus is in store gear because I have not changed out her gear yet. But they're pretty much between Venus and Draco Morph, they're going to function the same, right? Venus is going to go in there and do her decrease attack and weaken, just like Draco Morph will. And yeah, you just pretty much capitalize on that and dish out a lot of damage. Outside of that, they really don't do anything different. Now, I guess one could say Draco Morph might kill an opponent and do that surplus damage to kill another one. True, that he could do that, and if that's your style, you could go with Draco Morph. But also, Venus has HP burn, right? So that HP burn could come and very handy, especially with, like, you know, early in the video we said like Torment, because Torment capitalizes off of that. So, you know, it really depends on your team composition and what champions you have in your roster, right? Because for me, I think if I had to choose, I'll go with Venus over Draco Morph, but maybe, you know, some people might not feel that way because they don't have a certain type of champions I do. So that's how I will probably break it down between those two champions. But regardless though, if you don't have a decreased weekend type of champion, maybe Zargala, things like that, right? You could definitely use Draco Morph and Venus in the meantime. I wouldn't say they are top tier. I wouldn't say that these other champions you want to stick with for in-game meta when it comes to PvP, because if you look at the top 300, I don't think you ever will see a Venus and Draco Morph. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing. But regardless though, for now they work, but they so similar, it's really hard to say which one's better. This one is going to be up to the account holder's choice. Okay, that's how I feel. But yeah, if I had to choose, I would definitely go with Venus. But that is it. All right, so let's move on to dungeons, and that is pretty much it for the video. So when it comes to dungeons, I'm going to have to say it really doesn't matter for the most part. Now, if I had to pick, this video is about picking one, I'll say Dracomorph is the better champion for the Potion Keeps, for Minotaur's Labyrinth, and Dragon's Lair. But when it comes to Fire Knight's Castle, I would definitely have to say that Venus is the better option for this one because her A1 hits twice and her A3 actually hits the enemy. Dracomorph hits one time on his A1 and his A3 doesn't hit, so that does affect Fire Knight's Castle significantly, so Venus wins there. Now when it comes to Spider's Den, absolutely Venus. I'll show you an example why here shortly. And when it comes to Ice Golem's Peak, I will prefer to take Dracomorph, but I don't think it really matters if you have really good strong champions that could do block revive, so you know that's really going to be up to your team composition. So I would say overall Dracomorph can work in almost every section of this map better than Venus outside of Fire Knight's Castle and Spider's Den. And let me just show you a quick example why Venus is so much better when it comes to Spider's Den. It really shouldn't be a surprise, but it is because of that HP burn. Now, a lot of people use HP burn to take down Spider's 20 for the Arbiter mission, and it is a very legit way of doing it. It just takes a little bit of work because you need to build around that champion, speed tune, etc. So it's not as easy as it looks, but Venus can offer you that option if you have her, because not only will she do decreased defense and weaken, and if you have some Royal Guards like you see here, which will be able to capitalize off that and do more damage, but she could also provide additional damage by doing HP burn. So overall, when it comes to Spider's 20, easily Venus is the better champion. And I think right here Royal Guard's about to do takedown and just pretty much wrap this one up. It took about a minute 30, a minute 24 to get it done, and you can see that Venus did a lot of damage to Spider's 20. So easily, without an argument, Venus is the better champion when it comes to Spider's 20. And I almost forgot something really important. This is my great haul, so you can see that I am completely done with the Void Affinity, but with the Magic Affinity, I'm just missing about 3 more points and I'll be done with that. So not too much of a difference. Slight disadvantage to Dracomorph, but overall he did better in Clan Boss and many other parts of the game, so I don't think it was too far. Just throwing this out here so for you guys that are really detailed oriented, now you have all the information here for your viewing pleasure. Now, with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Let's put up some tag team arena in the background for your viewing pleasure as I wrap up this video. So when it comes to Dracomorph for Venus, it's honestly a hard choice because both of these champions are really good. But if I had to pick one and I had to get rid of the other, I think I'll get rid of Venus because there are a lot of champions that could do what Venus does well in Spider's 20, and she is very good in every aspect of the game, but I just feel like Dracomorph is more of a specialist. He might not do good in Spider's 20, but like I said, there are other champions that can, but no one does what Dracomorph can for Clan Boss. So I feel like given that perspective, Dracomorph is the better champion to have between the two. And I'm definitely not saying Venus is a horrible champion. What I'm just saying is if I had to pick one, it would have to be Dracomorph because, man, Dracomorph, he just does a lot of damage to that Clan Boss and in many areas of the game. Venus also does a lot of damage, and I'm pretty sure you can build her out to do more damage possibly than Dracomorph, depending, you know, on your artifact and future team compositions, because we don't know yet. But as of right now, hands down, I will go with Dracomorph. I love Venus. I think she's a great champion, but it is what it is. We have to pick one. So that is it for this video. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Who would you rather pick, Dracomorph or Venus? After watching this video, who will you still rather have? And the funny thing is, now that we're doing tag team arena, you see Venus in the background doing her thing, right? So hey, I don't know. Maybe my opinion might change in the future. That's what I'm saying. You never know. But as of now, all I know is you guys take care, be safe. It is Monday, so I think it'll be Monday by the time this video comes up. So you guys take care of yourself, have a good week, and catch you on the next one. Peace.